Hi everyone, my name is Heather from the Influitive support team, and I'm here today to teach you all a little bit about referrals. We're going to talk a little bit about some new referral features that we've added in the last couple of months, and just some referrals best practices so that we can just sort of get a better sense of how we can do referrals really, really well. So that's just the objective of this, just to do a deep dive into referrals just like it says there on the screen. Okay, so we'll do just, I have the About Me slide here because it's part of my regular slideshow. My name's Heather. I work on the Influitive support team. We actually have a new support magician working with us. His name is Don. So it's pretty likely that you'll be hearing from him on one of these classes sometime very soon. So you can look forward to that. Okay, so we're going to start today as part of our deep dive. We're going to be covering referrals. So we're going to start by looking at just reviewing what the previous referral challenge looked like from the advocate perspective. We're going to check out the new persistent referral challenge. We're going to figure out how to set that one up. Then we're going to talk about our new email referral feature, what that looks like for the advocate, and then how as the admin you can set that up. I also received a few questions in advance, and so I'll be covering those at the end. And if you guys have any other questions, then you can ask them anytime, but they'll be answered at the end of the class. One thing that I should mention is that sadly this class is not live today. This week something came up and I'm unable to be here live and in person to teach the class. So it is actually Tuesday evening. I'm recording this for you guys, and Sydney and Don from the CS team are there live in person to observe the class, make sure the technology thrives as it always does, and to answer any questions that you guys come up with throughout the class. So I'm sorry I'm not there. I'll be back in 2 weeks, I promise. But I hope you guys get something out of this. And of course, if you have more questions the next day or afterwards, feel free to send them along to us at the support team. The other thing you should note is we'll be sending out copies of this class as well. So it's already recorded. I guess it's technically recording right now, and you will be sending out a copy of this to everyone as well. Okay, so enough of that. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to dive right in. So sharing my screen, here we are. So this is what my AdvocateHub, the Yoga Cat Studio, looks like. We're going to go into the challenges bar, and we're going to look at what the old referral challenge looks like. I'm sure you guys know what it looks like because you're experts, but some of you are new, so it's good to review things. So this is the standard one that comes in the challenge template library. Headline is "We'd love to meet your friends." And when you click open, you see a few things. So this is where you put in your referral. So I can put in my name, the name, email, company of someone that I'd like to refer. And then as the admin, I've set up these other questions for the advocate to respond to. The other thing is that this challenge is hooked up with our LinkedIn integration. So as the admin, I've selected a keyword that I would like to be used to filter through through my advocate's LinkedIn connections. And the term I used this time was yoga. And so that's given me these options right here. And so I can filter through. And let's say I want to recommend one of these people. I would just give a little click. It doesn't populate the email for that one. Oh, I think this probably depends on the way this person has, oh, that's why. LinkedIn's not going to give you that person's email address, but they can use this to find the person that they know. And then because they know them, they can externally find the email address and put it in here. So then you want to ask some other questions. Let's say you want to ask some qualifying questions. I know qualified leads are an important thing for you guys. So this is a good spot to get your to ask some qualifying questions. Just get a little bit more information. Then they say, you know, I highly recommend this person, and well, that one didn't have an email. So clean. So it actually will not accept the lead if it doesn't have an email, and it also will not accept the lead if it doesn't have a proper email. So if it doesn't follow the format of something at something.com or .ca or whatever, the system will reject it and say this is not correct, which works out well for you guys because otherwise they won't get passed over to Salesforce properly, and also it's really difficult to contact people who don't have proper email addresses. So that's a little benefit that we actually recently added in. So highly recommend this person. I didn't answer all the questions. I'm not reading properly. Okay. So then it looks like that. You get the point. Okay. So that is your standard referral challenge. the new fun thing that we've added over here is up at the top we have a tab that's called the Referrals tab. The Referrals tab is what we at the Influitive team refer to as the persistent referral. Essentially, this is a referrals challenge that is always available to anyone who has access to this challenge. So you can, same as any other challenge, you can restrict this challenge based on group or any variety of match criteria. But for the people who have access, who fit that criteria, they can see the referral challenge, and this tab will always be here for them as long as the challenge is published. Okay, so it looks like this, and I will show you guys shortly how you can customize all this information. So the real benefit of this challenge is that it allows your advocates to have a greater role in the referral process. So let's say, for example, this example here. At one time, my current account that I'm in as Heather Advocate referred Kevin. So I referred Kevin. Then the challenge was advanced to the next stage by the admin. Then the same thing happened again. And then it was marked as completed. So this walks me through all the stages of my referral. One of the things that we used to hear a lot from customers is that it was difficult to sort of close the loop on referrals that were submitted. It was kind of a very manual process to have to go back and find the referral and let the person know, like, hey, this referral was qualified, this lead was converted, this is now a closed won or closed lost, and to award points accordingly. So now through this challenge, which has both a manual advancement process as well as an automatic advancement process, if you have a Salesforce integration, that will allow your advocates to sort of keep in the loop about what the status is of the referrals they've submitted. So let's try an example here. Click on Refer Your Friends. It looks the same as it did with the other ones. Let's say I'm going to refer Amy. Type in Amy at advocate.com. So then I'm going to submit this right here. Okay, so now I see that I have Amy Marchese, and the status is that the referral is being evaluated. So far I've only earned 200 points of a possible 10,000 points, but I can see that this is here. So now let's just quickly pop over into the admin view, and then we're going to come back. We're going to look for the trackable referral challenge. And, okay, Heather Advocate. Awesome. Here she is. She referred Amy Marchese. Now, if I had a Salesforce integration in my test hub, which sadly I do not, it would say this right here where it says approve. Instead, it would say this activity is being tracked automatically. And that means that the Salesforce integration, between the integration and the AdvocateHub, there is a relationship, and it's telling Salesforce is going to, our application is going to be constantly checking Salesforce to check the status of that lead. And as the status changes, Salesforce is going to tell AdvocateHub, and that is going to automatically update the referral status and either advance the challenge or just stop it right there. So depending on how the progression is set up. And I'll dive into that in a bit. So now, beside the part where it says this is going to be advanced automatically, you can also have the option still to select more options. And at that point, you will see this little screen here that's just opened up, and you can either approve the stage so that the advocate moves to the next stage, or you can say that you don't want them to continue, or you can ask them to retry, which isn't on here but should be, would be in that case. So let's say I'm going to manually approve this stage, okay? Just so we can see what it looks like for the advocate when the stage is advanced. So I click Submit. We're going to come on over here, refresh my page. And I'm going to see, hey, how's my status on Amy's thing doing? Okay, so this means that my lead was qualified. Now we're waiting for the decision. Is this going to either become closed won or closed lost? If it's closed won, then I will get 9,000 more points. If it becomes closed lost, then I will not receive more points. And what's going to happen is that the administrator, it'll automatically say this is moved into stage 3 of 3, closed lost, and the administrator will be given the option to provide feedback to the advocate, just letting them know that, hey, this opportunity was closed lost, but hey, we have other referrals that you can submit, and hey, you already got 1,000 points, so that's pretty good. Thanks for your help. Sort of, we leave it up to you to determine the messaging on that one so that you can have control over that type of relationship. So I can see right here what's happened. This challenge has been advanced to the next stage by an admin. That's what it says because this stage was manually advanced by the administrator. But in the case where this was automatically advanced by Salesforce, it would say something along the lines of this lead has been qualified. Okay, so we're going to just go take a step back, and we're going to we'll check out a couple things. So this is the trackable. So now we're in admin view. We're in admin mode. How do you make this work for your advocates? So we have a trackable referral with Salesforce integration. It should have a different name in your hub. So here we are right here. We've got this challenge, and we want to edit it. Okay. So this part right here, the headline itself, so where it says refer some awesome people, that is what populates the writing to on the left-hand side of the image at the top of the referral screen for the advocates. So if you wanted to, so I have it set as refer some awesome people, which doesn't fit too nicely, so it doesn't look very good. By default, it says, I think, refer your friends. So you can customize what that is. And then if you change what the points value is by adjusting the points for each of the stages, that will also reflect, those changes will be reflected on the right-hand side of the picture where it says earn up to 10,000 points. If you decrease that number, so it would say, the persistent referral challenge was worth maybe 2,000 points, then it would say earn up to 2,000 points. Okay, so the other thing we're going to look at here. So all this text is the same as the way your regular challenges work. You write in the description that goes in the challenge. And if you flip back over to the advocate page, right below the image, it says, hey, do you have a friend, family member, colleague? That is your challenge description. So that is what you can change. That is how you would edit that, by editing the challenge description. Pretty much the only part of this page that you cannot customize is the part under My Referrals where it says stay updated about the progress of your referrals as they advance along Yoga Cat Studio's sales process. Okay, so we're looking now at the first stage of the challenge in admin view. So this is where you would choose the standard fields, and this is where you would add your custom fields. So you can also, in this process, you can make your custom fields required or not required as you choose. And then here where it says suggest connections from advocates' LinkedIn network that match these keywords, this is where you put in the keywords that will filter through your advocates' LinkedIn connections to suggest some people that they may want to refer. One thing to note, just for the referrals, for leads, often it's very helpful to have the phone number checked. I didn't check the phone number just because that's not the default for my hub, but certainly that option is the popular one. And that's a good way. I mean, sometimes phoning a lead is better than emailing a lead, so it's kind of up to you and your sales team to figure out what the best process is there. But so this is where you would choose what the keywords would be for the LinkedIn network. And with this, there's sort of like a different kind of a process to this. So the search is and, but it's a sort of a fuzzy search. So it's going to search, let's say I put in multiple words. Let's say I put Yoga Cat Studio Marketing. Probably that's not going to return anything for me. But the way that I would determine if it would be if I just went over to LinkedIn. So when you're putting those words in the AdvocateHub as qualifiers, what you're doing essentially is giving them to us, and we're bringing them over to LinkedIn, and we're putting them into this general search bar. So when it searches them, it's going to bring up people who have any of these words, who have all of these words or most of these words anywhere in their profile. So if you put in marketing, you're not necessarily going to get someone who works in marketing, but you are going to get someone who has the word marketing in their profile. So sometimes generally we recommend that you put fewer words because then you're going to get higher quality results. Once you start getting into things like yoga, or let's say if you put marketing and director and VP and president and technology, what you're going to get is people who have that experience somewhere on their resume, not necessarily all of that experience right now. So we sort of leave it up to you to determine what the sort of how you want to qualify these things, but we definitely recommend using fewer search qualifying terms just so that more results are returned and so that you're getting sort of better, just more results is better results. So that's sort of why we recommend that because the search is a little, we don't have a lot of control over it and it's not an or factor. It's definitely an and factor, but the and of where things are is a little bit broad. So if you scroll down to the stage description, we're going to be looking here. So it says, upon receiving referrals, blah, blah, blah. So where does that go for the advocate? We're just going to come back over here to the AdvocateHub, Advocate View. That is, so in Admin View, that stage description is the description for Stage 1. In the Advocate View, that stage description appears here on the right-hand side where it says Step 1. Underneath, here's how it works. So that really fits with what stage descriptions are. Stage descriptions are really about giving any sort of qualifying information to your advocate about what exactly the process is or what the challenge is all about. So in this case, Step 1, upon receiving your referrals, we will send him or her a nice note that explains why we are contacting them. It will be courteous, pleasant, and give you all the credit. So that will be that, and that is part of how you manage your internal referral process. So if you do something different, if you're going to reach out to them in a different way, that's how you're going to do that. There's no automated process for contacting the referral. That's something that your team is going to manage. This is just the default text that we put in here. So then we flip to Stage 2, evaluating referral. And if you go down to the stage description, these are the words that you're going to see underneath Stage 2. So the important thing on this page is the lead status configuration. I don't have that set up here, but I am just going to pop into VIP, Truman's Hub, for those of you who know Truman. Take a look at what he's got set up. Oh, I didn't want to do that. So we'll be able to give you guys a better view of what that looks like. Okay. So in your hub, my hub name, my challenge name for this challenge didn't get updated because I'm like a test hub, but in your hubs they should all be called New and Improved Customer Referral Flow or something along those lines. Okay, so here we go. I just want to edit this challenge here. I'm going to go to Stage 2. So this is where you would configure what we describe as the path for your referrals. This is for the automatic Salesforce referral configurations. We have more documentation on this, and if you have questions about how you would set this up, we definitely recommend that you talk to your advocacy coach about this, just so you can definitely get a good handle on understanding the experience. But essentially what this is going to be all about is figuring out what Salesforce lead status determines whether an advocate's referral is accepted or rejected, or whether it has no impact on it at all. In the case where your workflow doesn't necessarily line up with these options, that is going to be when you reach a case where you would be manually overriding that. So like I said before, when it's being tracked by Salesforce, the referral status will say in the admin view, this is being tracked automatically. Beside that, you can select more options to manually override that decision and either advance or stop or reject an activity. And that's for the case when this path that you see here doesn't necessarily apply. So this is what I don't have in my hub over here, but if you had a Salesforce integration, that's what you would see. Now, if you don't have a Salesforce integration, no problem. You just set it up the way I have mine here, and then you just have to go through the process of manually approving your advocate's referrals. Now, then you don't get sort of benefit of the ease of the automatic updates, but some people find that the updates don't necessarily apply to their workflow, so it doesn't always work for them. And some people just like to have that process sort of in their hands, and that's awesome as well. So either way, the real benefit is that it's giving your advocates an updated view on what's happening with the referral, and it sort of makes them feel like a greater participant in the process. And what we found is that tends to generate better referrals or maybe more referrals because the advocate kind of feels that they're participating in the whole activity. And so there's a little bit more reward in that sense because it's not just, putting a response out into the black hole of the internet and hoping that maybe one day you get more points or maybe that you hear what happened with your referral. Often these people are referring their friends and, they have relationships with you guys. They want to know, hey, I tried to help you. Did it work? So that's what this is all about, helping them understand. So then we have the third stage of the challenge, and this is the same thing. This is really, you're going to see the same path options. And then again, the stage description appears for stage 3 in the advocate's view. Okay, so we're going to just go ahead now into the settings, and we're going to have a look under this Referrals tab on the bottom left-hand side of the page. And we are going to look at how to visually set up the additional elements of the persistent referral page. So here we have visual setup. This is the advocate landing page. So this is the picture that you saw before. You can change this image. And then the call to action by default is refer your friends. But you could also change that. So if you wanted to say, refer your prospect or refer anything. I guess you could pretty much put whatever you want. So it used to say refer a prospect by default. Then we changed it to refer your friends. And if you have something else you wanted it to be, by all means, feel free to customize that. The next thing we're going to look at here is lead creation. So this is where you would decide that I want my referral leads synced to Salesforce or do not sync my referral leads, in which case you'd be managing the process manually, or send referral leads to a formal marketing automation system. Currently, that option only works if your marketing automation system is Eloqua, and that's something that we will help you set up if that's something you'd like to pursue. So we're just trying to offer some different options to help people manage their the referrals they're getting from us a little bit better or with more variety. So that's something you can do as well. Okay, now something you may have noticed here is in the advocate view, when you click refer your friends, there's an option here that says introduce via email. This is the email referral feature. This is pretty new, and if I do this on myself, it's pretty exciting. So here's how it works. Your advocate comes in here, and I guess I'll explain the reasoning behind this a bit as well, is for some people, and even some people who work within the company, within Influitive, who sort of give their feedback on this process, they really felt that referring someone by putting in their name in their email could be, like that process might be a blockage, that someone might not want to put their friend's email or their colleague's email just out there into the system and just trust how it goes. So for those people who would like to have a little bit more control over these types of things, we now offer this feature called Introduce via Email. And so what the advocate can do is they can either they click to the tab, then they can click Send Me a Copy, which will email them a copy of this email that you see here below, or they can copy this email. To their clipboard. Then either way, they go into their email, their email, like their Gmail account or their work account or whatever, their Outlook, and they forward the email onto their friend, which is why we say remove text above this line, because this here is after below subject says we've made it easy for you to refer colleagues, friends, anyone else you know, and all of this text is to be removed, and then they send the actual message as well. And you guys have power to customize all of this. And then the line below is what really would be sent on to the advocate, to the prospect, the advocate's acquaintance or friend. So they can either do that by forwarding it or by creating a new email with a copy to my clipboard option. Now, the real sort of crux of this feature is the link that is sent in the email. This URL is customized or personal to the advocate who is sending the email. So every single advocate per Introduce via Email tab is going to have a unique URL that's special to them. So let's try this. So I'm going to open a new tab here. So let's just pretend that I, Heather Advocate, sent an email to someone, and that someone was Joe Smith, and Joe Smith opened his email and he clicked the URL that I had sent him. So then that URL appears in his browser. It opens up this screen, and the screen looks like this. And it says, Heather Advocate would like to introduce you to the rock cats, or cats, I guess. So it says, what does cats, yoga, and yoga cats do? And it says, gives a little bit of a description about what the Yoga Cat Studio is all about. And then it gives me, Joe Smith, the option to put in my own information because, hey, this sounds really cool. I want to learn more about this Yoga Cat. Heather recommended it, and that girl really knows what's up. Okay. So there are some customized questions here. If you notice that these questions don't necessarily fit the scenario, that's because I wrote these questions today, and regrettably, and I do apologize for this, I wasn't thinking properly. And so these questions don't really make sense for this scenario. These questions should be directed to Joe, but I really directed them to Heather. Normally this question would say something like, you know, what do you do at work, or what, maybe let's say your company offers a specific marketing solution. You might want to ask a question, you know, what's your biggest marketing pain point? Or is there anything specific that you would like to know about our company? What's your biggest challenge at work? Those are the types of questions that should be a part of this element of the challenge. And I will show you guys how to set that up. Okay, so we're just going to hit submit. Okay, and we're going to go to admin view and see what that looks like. Okay. So here we go. Now you can see right here, less than a minute ago, Heather Advocate referred Joe Smith. And Heather Advocate referred Joe Smith by sending him a URL that he clicked on and then filled in his own information on so that he could self-identify himself as an individual who is interested in what your company does, who is interested in following up on a recommendation that he received by email from one of your advocates. So that's really what this is all about. That's sort of what it looks like from the advocate side. And I'm just going to come on over here, and we're going to go to settings. I'm going to show you how we would customize these settings and customize what that experience looks like for your advocates. Okay, and for the prospects as well. So same thing under the Referrals tab. This is all about referrals, so we're using the Referrals tab today. We're going to look at two things. We're going to look at the prospect landing page. So that's this right here. So you're going to have a logo, so an image. So if you'll just notice in the URL or on the landing page, it says Heather Advocate would like you to introduce you to image. Okay? So what you want to really make sure is that the image that you're using has your company name in it. Because if your company name is just a logo, I mean, hopefully you're so recognizable that people will know what that means right away. But just sort of grammatically in terms of reading, it makes a lot more sense if the logo that you provide for this element of the page actually has your company name in it. And then the next thing you're going to be able to customize here is the message for prospects. So this is what you're writing to the prospects to say, hey, prospect, you know, this is what our company is all about. This is what we can help you with. What you really want to do is put some copy in here that is going to make the person reading it want to know more information about your company. So they will fill their name in as a lead, and then they will appear there. And one more thing I'm just going to flip back and check out here for you guys. So I'm back in Heather Advocate. My friend Joe filled out the form. If I come down here, Joe Smith also shows up in my list of people that I have referred. So I can see it, the admin can see it, and the prospects themselves were involved. We think this is a really great way to get qualified leads because you're getting people who already know a little bit about you and who are already interested in the concept. So it's an interesting and sort of new way to be introduced to people. Okay. Then the other thing we have here is the referral email. So this is the content of the email that is being sent out to the prospect by your advocate. So this is what they're either copying to their clipboard, or the advocate is copying to their clipboard or sending to themselves in order to forward onto their friend. So here we recommend that you keep this remove text above this line bit because this top part here is really instructions for your advocate, and then the bottom part is the email that they are going to send on. So this is sort of very, very basic text here. You definitely want to customize this when you set up this feature. And you can use merge fields the way that you can. And then as it says here, this will take them to the referral landing page, which is actually the prospect landing page that we just looked at. Okay. So here we go. So when you do this, when you customize this referral email, what you're doing is customizing the referral email that will always be available in all referral challenges that you create. And I'll show you what that means, because we're just going to go back over here. This is possible to create customized emails for certain referral challenges, okay? So let's say maybe that was my default one, and I wanted that to be my basic referral email that always went out most of the time. Except, and you edit this, and this is, you get to this by going to the Refer a Prospect stage in a referral challenge. You scroll down. Where's that one? Let me see. Okay. So right here, I can select use the default referral email message, or I can select override the default message for this challenge only. So this really comes into play if you're creating special Refer a Prospect challenges for certain segments of your AdvocateHub. We understand that some people don't want to use the same referral challenge for every single person that is an advocate for them. So in that case, you may want to set up separate emails for separate email referrals from separate advocates or separate advocate segments. So in that case, you can either use the default referral email message, which is what we were just looking at in the settings page, or you can click override the default message for this challenge only, and then you can alter the text. So when you do that, the default referral email message will populate here, and then you can edit it as you see fit, and that will be the referral email that appears for the advocates to send when they're completing the challenge, as long as you hit save. So that's kind of basically it. That's the persistent referral challenge. That's the we talked about the persistent referral challenge. We talked about the email referrals. That's more or less referrals in a nutshell right now. That's sort of the new features we've got going on. But certainly if you do have questions, we definitely want to hear them. So please send them to us. If you've got questions, type them into the chat on the side and we can answer them for you today. But I'm just going to right now address some of the questions that we received in advance of the class. And thank you so much to all of you who submitted questions. It's really, really helpful for me and for our team in general to get a sense of what you guys are looking to learn about the product and what we can focus the class on and what we can talk about for you guys. Okay, so a lot of people asked about tips on how to get more referrals and how to get qualified referrals. So a big part of getting qualified referrals, first of all, I would just suggest use the email referral feature. When you do that, you're already able to sort of qualify people a little bit better just because you're asked, or to at least get higher quality referrals because you are selling yourself directly to the prospect with no person in between. So it's really a referral almost with a smaller middleman, I guess you could say it that way. So you know, the prospect is, or the advocate is sending the information about you to the prospect, but it's the prospect who gets to read the information and decide, yes, I definitely want to know more about this product or this company. And in that sense, that's really great because now you're getting a person who's a lot more interested than, say, if your advocate just put in a whole bunch of people that they thought might be interested. And there's then even a heightened awareness of the prospect about what you guys are all about. So maybe hopefully they'll be more receptive to a sales pitch as well. So that is definitely one way that you can get more qualified referrals. The other way is simply to include more questions in your referral challenge. So when you're asking your advocates to refer prospects, to refer people, if you just ask them more questions like, hey, you know, what does this person do? Why should we get in touch with them? Why do you think they would be a good fit for us? What is the role this person has at their company? What's their job title? Another question that we were asked was, and how do we partner with other parts of the company to find out about this information? So I did actually go and talk to our sales team here at Influitive to see what their thoughts were on this. And what they pointed out was that for each sales team, there's often different target markets, and within that target market, there are target prospects. So if you could learn more information about what that is and maybe consider presenting that information to your advocates to say, hey, I'm looking for people that are like this. Do you know any? And you might not want to do that. You might just want to keep it open and get all the referrals that you can. But certainly if you can give your advocates more information about the type of referral you're looking for, then that may help them refer you more high-quality leads. The other thing that I would maybe recommend that you consider is just having a meeting with your sales team, or maybe setting up some sort of like regular group of maybe like a task force of people who sort of touch the lead process and who can maybe either give you information on how you can help them get more quality leads, and then have them understand how you can help them. So that way it's a bit of a two-way street and everyone's involved and sort of working towards the same goal. So I would definitely, I mean, in general with your AdvocateHub, I think it's a good idea to have cross-team collaboration and team-wide buy-in of the concept and sort of mobilizing your advocates, but especially with sales and especially when it comes to generating leads and getting more referrals, because you certainly want to know if you're already giving them your sales team referrals, you definitely want to know how's that going. Are the referrals good? Are they happy with the content or even sort of the process? Because you definitely want to have your whole team participating in this activity. Okay, we had one more question. Oh, the last question was, what are other customers doing? That's not really something that I can answer here like this, but what we've done in the Influitive Forums, and we'll be sending out a link to this, is we've created a forum discussion basically asking, what are you doing with your referrals? How are you managing your referrals? What things have you tried? What have you found works or didn't work? And we've created a challenge in VIP. And so if you go in and complete that challenge, we'll link you to the forums, and then if you post a response, you'll get some points. So you can definitely give that a look, and hopefully you guys will all share with each other, and this will be a good way to get some collaboration going on just in terms of sharing ideas and experiences. And then I guess one more idea for how to get more referrals is you may want to consider a referrals campaign within your AdvocateHub, whether it's special challenges or special rewards or perks or badges being given out to people who are referring. That I would definitely recommend looking into, because you may just want to sort of have a big referrals drive and really encourage people to submit referrals. It may even be as simple as letting people know about what new referral features are. The introduce via email feature, if you never clicked on the referral challenge, you would never know how it worked, and that it allowed you to email referrals instead. So if you even just took a screenshot of that challenge and said, hey, have you heard about this new email referral challenge? That might be a good way to get your advocates to sort of have some uptake on that type of activity. Okay. So I'm going to hand it over now to Sydney and Dawn for any questions that you guys have already submitted. And if you haven't submitted any questions, then I hope you email us with questions. I hope you participate in the forums. I hope this was helpful in some way. We'd always love to hear your feedback about this, or feedback about referrals, or any other AdvocateHub class we can hold for you guys. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry I could not be there live and in person, but I look forward to chatting with you all again in 2 weeks. And beyond that, I hope I just hear from you guys and about your referral experiences. Okay, thank you so much.